again welcome you all in the session of biopharmaceutics and the pharmacokinetics. In the today's session, we will discuss the order of process. So let us see. This is the disclaimer for all the viewers. Let us see the learning objectives which I have set for the today's module or today's session. So after learning this module, you will be able to understand the rate processes. You will be able to write equations for zero order process. You will be able to give the applications of zero order process. You will be able to write equations for first order process, and you will be able to determine half-life of first order process. So these are the learning objectives which I have set for the today's session. More precisely, we are going to discuss the various equations which are used for the zero order process and the first order process, which is applicable or which is used in the pharmacokinetics to get the idea about various pharmacokinetic parameters. So let us move towards the introduction. Let us see the rate processes. As you know that after a drug it is administered, it is subjected to number of processes. When we are administering the drug, there are so many processes are there, like absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination, and whose rate controls the concentration of drug at site of action. Say, look at this figure. So here the drug, it is present in the dissolution medium and it is going to be absorbed into the systemic circulation. So here there is one rate process, then again there is a distribution is there. So the process is reversible one, and from the central compartment itself, the drug, it is going to be excreted from the body, as well as from the same compartment it reaches to the all over the tissues, and which elicits the pharmacological action. So there are various processes which are involved in it, and whose rate controls the concentration of drug at a site of action. So this is the site of action. These processes affects the onset of action, then duration of action, and intensity of pharmacological response. So ultimately the ADME, whatever these processes are there, they are going to affect the onset of action, then the duration of action, and the intensity of action, because the quantity of drug which is reached to the specific site, it is decided by all these processes. Some knowledge of these rate processes is therefore essential for better understanding of the observed pharmacological activity of the administered drug. Entry, distribution, and exit of drug in the body, it is expressed mathematically by the rate at which they proceed, then the order of process and the rate constant. So whatever the entry of drug into the body, then the distribution of drug into the body, and the exit of drug from the body, it is expressed mathematically by the rate at which the process proceeds, then order of process and the rate constants. Typically, the order and types of process includes in the pharmacokinetics, there is a zero order, first order, and the mixed order processes. There are so many other order processes are also there, and which may be used widely in the reactions. So let us see some definition. So very first definition, what is mean by the rate? So now we are discussing the rate of reactions. So the velocity with which a reaction or a process occurs, that is called as a rate. In order to understand the all these rate processes which are involved in the pharmacokinetics for the absorption, distribution, and the excretion of a drug, there is a need to understand the order of reaction, isn't it? That's why here we are going to discuss the order of basics of order of reaction first by taking the example of the process of reaction, and then we will discuss the concepts related with the absorption, distribution, and excretion of the drug. The velocity with which the reaction or a process occurs, that is known as the rate. The speed at which reaction proceeds, that is known as the rate. Say for example, we have the reactant A and which gets converted into the B. So B is the product, isn't it? So at what rate, at what speed the A gets converted into the B. So the velocity with which a reaction or a process occurs, it is called as the rate. The manner in which the concentration of drug influences the rate of reaction or the process, it is called as the order of reaction or the order of process. So what is mean by the order of process? How the concentration of the reactant, concentration of drug influences the rate of reaction or the rate of process, isn't it? That is known as the order of reaction. Now consider the following chemical reaction. We have the drug A which is going to be converted into the drug B. So it is possible to write the rate of forward reaction as minus dA by dt. Here the minus sign indicates that the concentration of drug A decreases with the time t. As time passes, the concentration of drug A, it is going to be decreased, and so the rate of forward reaction, it is written as a minus dA by dt. As reaction proceeds, the concentration of drug B, it is increased, and the rate of reaction can also be expressed as dB by dt, as here the positive sign is present and which indicates that the concentration of B, it is going to be increased with respect to time t. Experimentally, the rate of reaction is determined by measuring the decrease in a concentration of drug A with a time t. If the C is the concentration of drug A, the rate of decrease in a C of a drug A as it is changed to B can be described by a general expression as a function of time t, that is related with the order of reaction. And the equation is the dC by dt is equal to minus kc raised to n, where k is the rate constant and n is the order of reaction, c is the concentration, t is the time, and dC by dt is the rate of change of concentration with respect to time. So this is the general equation which is used for the order of reaction. If the n is equal to 0, suppose that this is the n, and if this n is equal to 0, then the process is known as the zero order process. If n becomes a 1, then it is said to be the first order process, and so on. There are three commonly encountered rate processes in the physiological system in the case of the absorption, distribution, or the excretion of a drug. That is the zero order process, first order process, and the mixed order process. The kinetics of most of drugs, which is adequately described by the zero and the first order process, of which the first order is very important one. Generally, the elimination, it is going to follow the first order kinetics. Let us move towards the details of the zero order kinetics. The zero order kinetics, it is also known as the constant rate process. As we know, the basic equation which we have seen for the order of reaction, that is a dC by dt is equal to minus Kc raised to n. In the case of zero order kinetics, put the value of n as 0 and the equation becomes the dC by dt is equal to minus K0 C raised to 0. Isn't it? So, where the K0 is the zero order rate constant, isn't it? And here we have put the value of order of reaction as a 0. As we know that the C raised to 0 is equal to 1 and equation gets reduced to dC by dt is equal to minus K0. So this is the equation which is used for the zero order kinetics. So dC by dt, it is the rate of change of concentration with respect to time, and whereas the minus K0, it is the zero order rate constant. So the zero order process, it can be defined as one whose rate is independent of concentration. Look at the equation, isn't it? Whatever the rate, it is independent of concentration of drug undergoing the reaction. And the rate of reaction cannot be increased further by increasing the concentration of reactant, isn't it? In such cases, it is said to be the zero order process. So in the zero order process, we got this equation dC by dt is equal to minus K0. Now rearrange this equation so as to we will get the dC is equal to minus K0 dt. See, with the help of this equation dC by dt is equal to minus K0, it becomes very difficult to calculate the rate of equation. Hence, the simplification is required. So, rearrange the equation, we will get the dC is equal to minus K0 dt. Now, integrate the equation as the t is equal to 0, the C becomes C0. When t is equal to t, C becomes Ct. Here the C0 is the initial concentration and Ct is the concentration of a drug at a time t. So after integration, C0 to Ct dC is equal to minus K0 integration T0 to T dt, we will get the equation C minus C0 is equal to minus K0 T. Now rearrange this equation so that we will get the equation for the C. That is the concentration of the reactant at a time t. That is C is equal to C0 minus K0 T. So whereas the K0 is the zero order rate constant, C0 is the initial concentration and C is the concentration at a time t. When we are plotting the graph of C to T, look at the graph C to T, we will get the straight line with a slope minus K0. So by using the slope value directly, it is possible to get the value of the rate constant, zero order rate constant K0. By observing all these equations for the zero order process, there is not involvement of any exponential or the logarithmic convergence, isn't it? That is the main feature of the equations which are involved in the zero order kinetics or the constant rate process. The concentration of reactant decreases linearly with time. A plot of C versus T yields a straight line having the slope minus K0 and the y-intercept is the C0, that is the initial concentration, that is the C0. So here again, when we are plotting the graph of dC by dt to t, we are getting the steady state drug loss. So the final equation which we got in the zero order process is the C is equal to C0 minus K0 T. And when we are plotting the graph of C to T, we are getting the slope value minus K So it is possible to get the idea about the rate constant K, and also it is possible to calculate the initial concentration. Let us see the zero order half-life. As you know that the equation for zero order process, which we have seen on the previous slide, that is the C is equal to C0 minus K0T. So what is mean by the half-life? Half-life, it is nothing but the time required to convert the half quantity of the reactant into the product. If the T is equal to T half, then the C is equal to C0 by 2, right? If the T gets converted to T half, then the C becomes a C0 by 2. So this C value becomes a C0 by 2. Now put the value of T as a T half and C as a C0 by 2 in this equation, so that we will get the C0 by 2 is equal to C0 minus K0 T half. Now rearrange this equation. We will get, just move this K0 T half onto the left hand side. So K0 T1 half is equal to C0 minus C0 by 2. Again, rearrange the equation. So we will get the K0 T1 half is equal to 2C0 minus C0 divided by 2. And the equation for K0 T1 half is equal to C0 by 2. So the final equation which we are getting for the zero order half-life is equal to C0 upon 2K0. So this is the equation which is used for to calculate the half-life of the zero order process. So half-life, it is nothing but a time period required for concentration of drug to decrease by 1/2. And in the case of zero order process, it is not constant, but it is proportional to initial concentration and inversely proportional to the zero order rate constant, that is a K0. As the one of the feature in the case of zero order process, the equation do not require logarithmic transformations, and half-life can be calculated using the regular graph paper. There is no need to use the semi-logarithmic plot. There is no need to convert the data into the logarithmic form. Simply, whatever the data is there, concentration to time, just plot it on the regular graph paper on a x-axis time, y-axis C. You will get the straight line. Calculate the slope value. It is possible to calculate the value of K, that is a zero order rate constant. From the y-intercept, you will get the value of C0. And furthermore, it is possible to get the idea about the half-life of the zero order process. As the half-life of zero order process, it is not constant, but it is proportional to the initial concentration of reactant or initial concentration of drug, and it is inversely proportional to zero order rate process. Look at the figure or the graph. The plot of C to T is plotted, and we got the straight line. The first half-life, it is approximately more than 30. Then second half-life, it is less than 30, isn't it? And again, the third half-life, it is going to be reduced. So in the case of the zero order process, the half-life, it is decreases with the decreasing concentration, isn't it? And here it's a C0, right? So half-life, it is going to be calculated by using the equation T half is equal to C0 upon 2K. What you have to do, you have to suppose to select, if you want to calculate the half-life by using the graph, just select any of the concentration from, say for example, here we have selected the 0.20, then half of 0.20, it's the 0.1, so you will get the first half-life. Then half of the 0.10, it's a 0.05, so So you will get the value for second half-life. Then 0.05, half of that, you will get the third half-life. Likewise, it is possible to calculate the half-life of the process. Let us see the applications of zero order process. Zero order process, it is used for the administration of drug as an intravenous infusion. Whatever the equations which we are using in the intravenous infusion, all these equations are based on the zero order process. So in the case of administration, the zero order process equations are useful. Then all the zero order processes are applied in the formulation and administration of a drug through the controlled release dosage form. As controlled release dosage forms, they are going to follow the zero order kinetics. It is furthermore useful in administration of drugs through the transdermal drug delivery system. Then furthermore, it is useful in the controlled drug delivery from the implants which are inserted under the skin and osmotic pumps. Furthermore, the zero order processes are useful in the metabolism, to understand the metabolism, to understand the protein binding and the carrier mediated transport under the saturated conditions. Let us see the important equations which we have seen in the zero order kinetics or the zero order process. So first equation which we have seen, that is a dC by dt is equal to minus K0. K0 is the rate constant, dC by dt is the rate of change of concentration with respect to time t. Then the equation for the zero order kinetics, that is determination of concentration of a reactant at a time t, that is C is equal to C0 minus K0 t. When we are plotting the graph of C to t, we are getting a straight line with a slope minus K0 and y-intercept is the C0. Equation for determination of zero order half-life, that is half-life is equal to C0 upon 2K. So herewith we have finished the zero order process. Hope all of you have understood the things which we have discussed under the zero order kinetics. Let us move towards the first order kinetics. As you know, the basic equation for the order of reaction, it is a dC by dt is equal to minus Kc raised to n. Now put the value of n as a 1. As order of reaction, we are considering it as a 1. So the equation becomes the dC by dt is equal to minus Kc, right? So here in the case of first order kinetics, the rate is directly proportional to the concentration of drug undergoing the reaction. If greater the concentration, faster the reaction. So that is the main difference in the zero order and first order. In the case of zero order, it is not dependent on the concentration, and in the case of first order, it is dependent on the concentration. So greater the concentration, faster the reaction. Now rearrange this equation. Before rearrangement, just see the graph. When we are plotting the graph of dC by dt versus C, we are getting a straight line with a slope minus K. But always it is not possible to get the idea about dC by dt, that is the rate of change of concentration with respect to time. So rearrange the equation as the dC by C is equal to minus K dt. So here the K is the first order rate constant, T is the time, C is the concentration, isn't it? Now we take the integration of this equation, that is a dC by C is equal to minus K dt. When T is equal to 0, C becomes a C0, and when T is equal to T, C becomes a CT. So integration C0 to Ct dC by C is equal to minus K integration T0 to T dt. So after simplification and the rearrangement, we will get the equation in the form of natural log. So natural log of C is equal to natural log C0 minus Kt, isn't it? So this is the equation which is widely used to understand the first order kinetics or first order process. So when we are plotting the graph of ln c to t, we are getting a straight line with a slope minus k and the y-intercept as ln c0. Let us move towards to see the exponential form of this equation. So exponential form, when we are converting the equation into the exponential form, we will get the c is equal to c0 e raised to minus kt. So as above equation, so there is one exponential during conversion which is raised into the first order kinetics as c is equal to c0 e raised to minus kt. C is the concentration of reactant at a time t, c0 is the initial concentration and k is the rate constant. So in the above equation there is only one exponent and the first order process it is called as the mono exponential. As only one exponential it is present in the first order kinetics, so it is also known as the mono exponential rate process. As the first order kinetics, it is characterized by the logarithmic or exponential kinetics, as we have seen that the exponential is present and the constant fraction of drug undergoes the reaction per unit time. So the constant fraction of drug, it is going to be undergoes the reaction per unit time. As we have seen the equation on the previous slide, that is the natural log of c is equal to natural log c0 minus kt. Now convert this equation into the logarithmic form. As we know that the natural log is equal to 2.303 log. So we will get the equation as the log of c is equal to log of c0 minus kt divided by 2.303, and this is the final equation which is widely used to understand the first order kinetics. And when we are plotting the graph of log of c to t on the regular graph paper, we will get the straight line with the intercept log of c0 and the slope minus k divided by 2.303. So it is possible to get the idea about the first order rate constant. When we are plotting the graph of c to t, it is not possible to get the straight line, isn't it? And such graphs or the first order kinetic data or first order, when the reaction it is going to follow the first order, generally the data is not plotted onto the regular graph paper. Either we have to do the logarithmic convergence or you have to suppose to use the semi-log paper in order to linearize the data, isn't it? So as to we will get the idea about the rate constant, that is the k. So it becomes very easy to get the idea about first order rate constant, isn't it? So semi-logarithmic plot of equation yields a straight line with a slope minus k divided by 2.303 and y-intercept as a log c. So here when we are plotting, there are two chances are there or two ways are there to calculate the or to get the idea about rate constant. Either convert the data into the log form and plot it on the regular graph paper, or use the semi-logarithmic plot which is available in the market and plot the data on the semi-logarithmic paper and calculate the rate constant. So this is about the first order kinetics. The final equation, that is the log of c is equal to log of c0 minus kt divided by 2.303. Let us move towards the further details of the first order kinetics, that is determination of first order half-life. As on the previous slide, we have seen the equation log of c is equal to log of c0 minus kt divided by 2.303. As half-life, it is nothing but it is a time required to convert the half quantity of reactant into the product, isn't it? So when t is equal to t half, then c is equal to c0 by 2. Now put these values into this equation. So that we will get the log of C0 divided by 2 is equal to log of C0 minus KT 1/2 divided by 2.303. Now rearrange this equation so that we will get the log of C0 minus log of 2 is equal to log of C0 minus KT 1/2 2.303. For this rearrangement, you should know the logarithmic rules. So here we know that the log of 2 it is 0.3010 and log of 1 is 0. So we will get the equation after rearrangement, that is KT 1/2 divided by 2.303 is equal to 0.3010. So further rearrangement, KT 1/2 is equal to 0.693, and the final equation for the first order half-life, that is a T half is equal to 0.693 upon K. And by observing this equation, the first order half-life of first order process, it is independent on the initial concentration. And in the case of zero order kinetics, the half-life it is dependent on the initial concentration. So the final equation, which is widely used to calculate the half-life of first order process, that is T half is equal to 0.693 upon K. Let us see the graphically how to get the idea about the half-life. Say for example, we have plotted the graph of C to T on a semi-logarithmic paper. So this is the data which is plotted on the semi-logarithmic paper. So we are getting the straight line, isn't it? And this straight line is having a slope minus K divided by 2.303. So with the help of this slope, it is possible to get the idea about the K. And once we calculate the K, put the values into the equation of T half, you will get the idea about half-life. As you know that the half-life, it is nothing but the time required to convert the half a quantity of reactant into the product. Say, for example, the original quantity, it is a 200, isn't it? So half of a 200, it becomes a 100. So put the line parallel to x-axis, form the 200, which is going to intersect your data. Similarly, put the horizontal line from the 100, which is going to intersect the data, and again put the parallel line to the y-axis, which is going to intersect the x-axis. So you will get here the values of for the t, isn't it? And from these t values, that is time values, it is possible to get the idea about half-life. Say for example, this is a T2, this is a T1. So T2 minus T1 is equal to T half. The main equation which is used to calculate the half-life of process, first order process, that is a T half is equal to 0.693 upon K. Let us see the one example. Say for example, the rate constant for reaction, it is given as a 0.028 per minute. Now calculate the half-life. As we know the equation for the first order, that is the T half is equal to 0.693 upon K. So here the reaction, it is going to follow the first order. It is not given over here. So put the value of K. So T half is equal to 0.693 upon 0.028. And half-life of reaction, it is 24.75 minutes. In the most of the cases, the pharmacokinetics, that is absorption, distribution, and elimination, follows the first order kinetics. So this is about the first order process. Let us see the mixed order kinetics. In previously, we have seen the zero order kinetics, right? We have seen the first order kinetics. Our ultimate aim is to get the linearity in order to calculate the rate constant. In the case of zero order process, when we are plotting the data on the regular graph paper, we are getting the straight line and no logarithmic convergence or exponentials are present in the zero order process, and it becomes very easy to get the idea about zero order rate constant as well as the half-life for the zero order process. In the case of first order kinetics, we are getting the equations which involves the exponentials and the logarithmic convergence are there, and which are utilized to linearize the data. And when we are plotting the graph of log c to t, we are getting a straight line with a slope minus k divided by 2.303. And with the help of slope, it is possible to get the idea about the first order rate constant, and further it is possible to calculate the half-life of the first order process, that is the t half is equal to 0.693 upon k. Always it is not possible the processes or the reactions, generally the biological processes, they are not going to follow the zero order or first order. There may be the mixture of the first as well as the zero order when we are increasing the dose, or whenever there is a chronic medication, isn't it? And the mixture of both first order and zero order kinetics, it is observed in all these some of the cases, and in such cases it is said to follow the mixed order kinetics. There is a mixture of first and the zero order. First order is predominant since the deviation from an originally linear pharmacokinetic profile are observed, and the rate processes of a drug, it is called as the non-linear kinetics. We are not getting the linearity in the kinetics. The mixed order kinetics, it is also termed as the dose dependent. So as we are increasing the dose, the kinetics of drug, it is going to be changed, and it is observed at an increased or multiple doses of some drugs. The phenomenon is seen when a particular pharmacokinetic process involves the presence of carriers. Already we have seen the carrier mediated transport, isn't it? It is a saturable, isn't it? Once carriers gets fulfilled with the drug molecule, furthermore, the whatever the process rate, it is the constant. It is, isn't it? Initial rate, it is different, and the after saturation, the rate becomes a different. Or in the case of enzyme kinetics, which are substrate specific and have a definite capacities and can get saturated at high concentration, and in such cases it is said to be the capacity rate limited. And kinetics of such a capacity limited process can be described by Michaelis-Menten kinetics or Michaelis-Menten equation. So this is about the mixed order kinetics. So in the today's session, we have discussed the rate processes in the reactions in order to understand the further kinetics. We have discussed the equations for the zero order process. We have seen the applications of zero order kinetics. We have seen the equations for the first order process. We have seen how to determine half-life of first order process. So these are the some references which I have referred for the today's presentation. Thank you very much.